Imagine that everything you love, your country, your language, your faith, and your past is dying. That the entire world has already written your death certificate, and that the only way to survive is to kill the person you were yesterday in order to become someone completely new. Today we speak about Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, the man who stood before the ruins of a 600-year-old empire and had the almost insane courage to say, "We will not die. We will be reborn, even if that means changing our very soul." You will see how a single commander in a trench soaked in blood at Gallipoli ordered his soldiers not to attack, but to die in order to buy time. You will feel the inhuman pressure of erasing a millennium-old alphabet with a single stroke of the pen and replacing the crown of a sultan with the dignity of a simple citizen. This is the story of the greatest gamble in history. Can you transform a ruin into a fortress through sheer force of will? Stay until the end, because Ataturk's lesson will strike you straight in the heart. It will force you to ask yourself, how much of your comfort are you willing to burn in order to become the person you are meant to be? Welcome to Decisions Under Pressure. Imagine an empire that spanned 3 continents, the Ottoman Empire, a force that, for centuries, made Europe tremble at the mere mention of its name. But by 1918, this giant was on life support. Istanbul, the city of 2 continents, was occupied by foreign troops. The Sultan, the successor of the caliphs, had become a puppet, signing treaties that sold out his own people just to save a few rooms in his palace. Under the crushing weight of total humiliation, one man refused to accept reality: Mustafa Kemal. There is a scene of incredible visual power. Kemal stands on the banks of the Bosphorus, watching the enemy warships. His aides were in tears. He, with a voice of ice, told them, "As they have come, so shall they go." But the greatest pressure did not come from the enemy, but from within. The government in Istanbul, seeking to please the occupiers, declared Kemal a traitor. An arrest warrant was issued, then a death sentence. Imagine this moment. You are a brilliant officer, but now you are utterly alone. You have no home, no rank, no protection. You are an outcast in your own land. Instead of fleeing, Kemal made the gesture that changed history. He stripped off his official uniform and resigned from the army. He became a simple civilian, but that civilian had a plan. Under the pressure of extinction, he understood that geography is no longer defended by royal decrees, but by the spirit of the people in the mountains. To understand the pressure Ataturk lived under, we must descend into the trenches of Gallipoli. The year was 1915. Wave after wave of enemy soldiers poured onto the beaches. The Turkish ammunition had run out. Terrified, the soldiers began to retreat. Kemal stood in their path. He didn't plead with them to return. He looked them in the eye and gave the most brutal order ever uttered by a commander. "I do not order you to attack. I order you to die. In the time it takes for us to die, other soldiers and other commanders can take our place." Pause for a moment and feel the weight of those words. This wasn't a quote from a book of honor. It was a mathematical necessity. Under the pressure of time, he decided to trade human lives for seconds of resistance, and they died by the thousands. But the line did not break. A few years later, during the War of Independence, the pressure turned logistical. Turkey was a country without industry, without roads, without resources. Kemal introduced the national obligations. He ordered every household to give the army a pair of shoes, a sack of wool, and 40% of their food stock. He was a manager of hunger. Imagine the pressure of demanding everything from a people who have nothing left, asking them to give their last piece of bread for a dream that many could not yet see. But he was there, in the mud, on the front lines, sleeping on the bare ground alongside them. He proved that under pressure, authority is not earned through golden epaulets, but through shared suffering. At the Sakarya River, the battle raged for 22 days and 22 nights without pause. Kemal led with a broken rib, refusing to leave his post. When it was over, the enemy was in retreat, and the world realized that the sick man had risen from his bed, and he had a sword in his hand. When the cannons fell silent, the true terror began for Ataturk. He knew that a military victory was merely a bandage on a festering wound. The pressure of history whispered in his ear, "Empires that do not change disappear." And so he began what I call the Lev surgery of a nation. Imagine the pressure of telling a people who, for 600 years, had written their prayers in the Arabic alphabet. As of tomorrow, this alphabet is dead. We will use Latin letters. It was as if he were cutting out their tongues. His friends warned him, "It will take 10 years for the people to learn." Kemal replied, "We have 3 months, or we perish." He took a chalkboard and a piece of chalk and began traveling through the villages. Imagine this scene: the president of a newly liberated country standing in the dust, teaching the letter A to illiterate elders. Then he struck at tradition. He removed religion from the Constitution. He granted women the right to vote and to be elected at a time when, in many European countries, this was still a dream. He banned the fez and demanded that people wear modern clothes. Why this obsessive pressure on visual details? Because Ataturk understood a profound psychological secret. If you want a man to think differently, you must first make him feel different. But the price was absolute loneliness. His former brothers in arms, men with whom he had shared bread in the trenches, turned against him. They called him a traitor to the faith, a dictator, a madman. Kemal remained alone in his palace, working until 4 in the morning, reading thousands of books, planning every detail of the new Turkey. He chose to be hated in the present to be a savior in the future. He understood that under the pressure of modernization, one cannot be both a democrat and a revolutionary at the same time. He chose the scalpel, even as the patient screamed in pain. Mustafa Kemal Atatürk passed away at the age of 57. His body was quite simply consumed by his inner fire. It is said that in his final moments of lucidity, he looked at his watch and apologized to the doctors for the inconvenience. He died as he lived, with an iron discipline over his own emotions. His lesson for us today is one that burns. We live in a world that tells us to be ourselves, to preserve our traditions, and never to change. But Ataturk shouts to us across the decades, sometimes who you are is the greatest obstacle to what you can become. He did not want to be loved, he wanted his nation to exist. He understood that under the pressure of destiny, the only unforgivable crime is the nostalgia that prevents you from building the future. Today we look upon him not as a politician, but as an architect of the impossible. A man who took a ruin and transformed it into a home. A man who took a people of subjects and transformed them into citizens. Ask yourself now, in the silence following this video, if your life were a ruin today, would you have the courage to throw away all the memories and habits that brought you here? Would you have the strength to say no to your own identity in order to survive? Or will you remain clinging to your mental fez, weeping over the ruins while history tramples you down? Pressure is not your enemy. Pressure is the force that decides if you are coal or diamond. Ataturk chose to be the diamond that cut through the glass of history. Do you have the courage to ignite the fire of change within yourself? Or do you prefer to fade away slowly, loyal to a version of yourself that no longer works? Because in the end, between us and disaster stands not luck, but the power to say enough and to begin writing with a new alphabet. Are you ready to learn the first letter?